The Week 6 Can't Hack It Pantywaist League review starts now.
When the la-la hits your lyrics, just split ya. Head so hard that your hat can't fit ya. Either I'm with ya or against ya. Format bent ya. Back through that maze I sent ya. Talking to the rap inventor. The game type fifth, that flame right. Spell my name right. B-I-double-G-I-E. Iced out, lights out, me and Caesar Leo. Getting for some chick he know. See, it's all about the cheddar. Nobody do it better. Going back to Cali, strictly for the weather, women, and the sticky green. No seat, please. Papa ain't soft, dead up in the hood. Ain't no love lost. Got me mixed up, you drunk them licks up. Mad cause I got my and my forfeit, the game is mine. I'ma spell my name one more time. Check it. It's the N-O-T-O-R-I-O-U-S. You just lay down slow. Recognize a real dawn when you see one. Sipping on booze in the house of blues. I'm going back to Cali. 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 If I got to choose the coast, I got to choose the east. I live out there, so don't go there. But that don't mean a can't rest in the west. See some nice in the west. Smoke some nice sets in the west. Y'all is a mess, thinking I'm gonna stop. Giving LA props. All I got is beef with those that violate me. I shall annihilate thee. Case closed, suitcase filled with clothes. Linens and things, I'll begin things. People flash, 818-213s, 313s, B.I.G. Frequently floss at Roscoe. If I want a scooter, take her to Fat Burger. Spend about a week on Venice Beach. Sipping Crisco with some freaks from Frisco. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali.
You could ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
In Week 1, it was the Bengals who lost, causing hellfire and brimstone to be out of the survivor pool. The 49ers went down, and so did Catch and Thielen's. Michael's team, Torch Illustrated, were caught by the Titans. The Broncos' loss costed Doomsday, Sundays of Thunder, and Bud Wilborn's team. Then Week 2, the Bengals took out CD's Nuts, and then Week 3, the Chiefs taking out Mac Lives Matter. A couple weeks of nobody losing until we got to Week 6, and the Buccaneers lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to catch Camaryless in their bid for the #1 pick. So let's take a look to where everybody is at right now. Number 6 is Camaryless, number 7 CD's Nuts, and number 8 Sundays of Thunder. 9 through 14 are still all battling out based on points scored. 9 is going to go to Camaryless, though that is Hellfire and Brimstone's points scored position, but that pick was traded earlier this week. And then still alive, going for the #1 pick, you have Wyoming Redskins, Mac Lives Matter, Colby's team, Gilly Cheesesteak, and Baker's dozen of rejects.
You play ball like a girl!
The Week 6 low score of the week is going to go to Michael's team, 61.3 points scored. That is his first time being low score here in 2022. 21st all time. No, he hasn't been low score since 2019. But in all of the Can't Hack It Pantywaist League history, he now stands all alone as the king of the low score for the 21st time, breaking the tie with Sundays of Thunder, 20 apiece. Now 21 for Michael's team.
Let the big dog eat!
And the Week 6 high score of the week goes to, well, the same person it goes to just about every week. Wyoming Redskins has their 5th high score of the year out of 6 weeks, this time putting up 147. They are led by Jamar Chase, who's finally decided to show up in this season, who had over 28 points. We'll talk a little bit more about him later. Of course, Josh Allen showed up, putting up 26 points. Andrews 20, Barkley 17. Overall, just a good team effort top to bottom for Wyoming Redskins, and they are your Week 6 high score.
It's not called being gay, it's called being fabulous!
And the week's Seek Fabulous Move of the Week goes to Colby's team with the pickup of Mike
First the
Gesicki.
goal, high snap. Bridgewater throws, end zone, touchdown, Mike Gesicki. Bridgewater can't find anyone. Now throws, end zone, touchdown, Gesicki with his second of the quarter.
Gesicki's only projected to put up 6 points. He ended up scoring 22. 7 targets, he caught 6 of them. 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. Number 1 tight end on the week. He cost Colby $0 off the waiver wire. And most importantly, he helped Colby's team with a slight upset over Doomsday with a 12.5 point win, putting both teams at 4-2, tied for 3rd place, and getting Colby right back in the thick of the playoff picture.
Well, I'm the best there is. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
As previously mentioned, the Week 6 performance of the week is going to go to the Wyoming Redskins wide receiver, Jamar Chase.
Ball, end zone, touchdown, Jamar Chase. Burrow throwing this side of the field. Jamar Chase with the catch and up the sideline, and there he goes. Jamar Chase to the end zone for the touchdown.
He's projected to put up 14 on the week, and he more than doubled it, putting up 29. He had 10 targets. He got 7 of them for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the number 1 wide receiver Week 6. He's the number 5 wide receiver on the season, and he helped his team, Wyoming Redskins, take down Bud Wilborn's team. And that sound means it's time to find who shit the bed in Week 6. The Amber Turd Award this week is going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars defense.
Ryan throws left for Campbell, and Campbell reaches out. Touchdown! Harris Campbell. Jackson right up the middle, lowers his shoulder, and takes it in. Ryan again to the end zone. Ryan's going to throw it, taking a deep shot for Pierce down the field. He's got it!
That seemed like Colts highlights, but it really was just to show you how bad the defense did. They allowed 34 points to the Colts, who have not been able to put any kind of offense together this season up until this game. They had 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles, a fumble recovery, 0 touchdowns. They projected to score 10 points and scored a -5. And to really put salt on the wounds, that loss costed the Polton organization and Camaryllis the victory with a loss by less than 1 point. And what that does, that drops Camaryllis down to 2-4 in a game that they were projected to win, a game that they definitely expected to win over Baker's dozen of rejects. Instead, they both now are 2-4 and tied down there for 9th place. Not saying they're out of it or that loss knocked them out, but that loss does not help their chances in any way of getting on to the postseason.
Boom shakalaka! He's heating up! He's on fire!
And still on fire, and he has been all season long. The Wyoming Redskins 6-0 in first place. They've won 6 straight. That is now their new best, tied for their best streak in their history. In 2013, they also won 6. Again, they have the QB1 on the year in Josh Allen, the running back 2 in Nick Chubb, and the wide receiver 5 in Jamar Chase, averaging 156 points a week, and their opponent 116. And joining them this week on fire is Sundays of Thunder. They are 5-1, currently in second place. They've won 3 straight to get on fire. They have the QB4 in Patrick Mahomes, running back 17 in James Robinson, and the wide receiver 2 in Cooper Kupp. They're scoring 125 a week, opponent putting up 109. Now, their longest streak in their history is back in 2014 when they won 7 straight. And looking ahead this week, in Week 7, Sundays of Thunder is at home hosting Catchin' Thielens in a game that's projected to be pretty close, within 10 points. Catchin' Thielens coming off their big first victory of the year, looking to get rolling here and put a couple together. And Wyoming Redskins will be in a very big battle, which we will get into later in the weekly review, with Mac Lives Matter as they look to get their streak extended to 7 games.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Before we can get into this week's matchup of the week, let's review last week's matchup of the week with Michael's team and Sundays of Thunder going head to head. And Sundays of Thunder, well, they end up winning big, somewhat because they had a big week. Guys like Tyreek Hill put up 23 and Patrick Mahomes 21. But also they won big because Michael's team did not show up. 2 quarterbacks scored around 21 combined. His receivers put up 5 points combined. His running backs about the same. I think his high scorer, or just about his high scorer, was his kicker. Just goes to show he had a bad day. They just did not live up to the CHIPL game day being on site, and the primetime game might have gotten to them a little bit, dropping them to 3-3 on the year. But moving on to week 7. So our matchups this week, we have Catch and Thielens at 1-5 coming off their first victory of the year, traveling to take on Sundays of Thunder. Hellfire and Brimstone headed out to take on Gilly Cheesesteak, Doomsday, and Michael's team going at it head-to-head. CD's Nuts taking on Torch Illustrated, looking for their second win, get back in that playoff picture. We have Colby's team taking on Baker's Dozen of Rejects, and Bud Wilborn's team is traveling, hitting the road to take on Kamara Liss. And the one game missing, the matchup of the week here in week 7, is the Wyoming Redskins traveling to take on Mac Lives Matter. Now this year, Wyoming Redskins again undefeated, 6-0. Mac Lives Matter, the reigning champ, is 2-4. Now these teams have played each other 10 times in their history. 9 have been in the regular season, where the Corbett organization has 4 wins, and the Clark organization has 5, and then the Clark organization is 1-0 in the postseason. Mac Lives Matters has won 4 straight. They swept the matchups last year. They swept the head-to-head last year, and Corbett's organization has not won since 2018. Looking at the consequences of this matchup on it going either way for either of these teams, only 2 teams have ever gone 7-0 in Can't Hack It Pantywaist League history. Wyoming Redskins is looking to be the 3rd. Obviously, all of them have made the playoffs. 6 teams have gone in 6-1. All of them also making the playoffs. Now, for Mac Lives Matter, going 3-4 is going to be pretty important for his playoff hopes. 28 teams have done it, and 21% of those 28 have made the playoffs. 15 teams have gone 2-5, which would be if he loses, and 0 have made the playoffs. Now, this matchup has a lot going into it from the outside and on the inside. A couple things, these are bros-in-law, and as we all know, everybody hates their in-laws, so there's already a hatred fuel in this game. Josh Allen, Dallas Goedert are on bye for Wyoming Redskins. Matthew Stafford, Darrell Henderson, and Dawson Knox on bye for Mac Lives Matter. And not to mention, we have Christian McCaffrey is in a new situation. He's worried about stepping in feces on the streets of San Francisco. He's also got to worry about an extra $3 million he's got to pay in taxes now. They're in the terrible, awful state of communist California. So there's just a lot of distractions going into this matchup, and we'll see who's going to be able to rise to the occasion and bring home that victory. There's also been some bulletin board material going back and forth, and it started from Mac Lives Matter sending a couple of mockery trade offers this week. One offering Juwan Johnson for Mark Andrews, saying you're going to need a real stud at tight end if you want to make a run. Also offering Kyler Murray for Josh Allen, letting him know that if he wants to win this week, this is the move he's going to need to make, and he had a short time period to make it. But wasn't the only one throwing out material up there, as Wyoming Redskins let him know they heard that Kyler Murray was going to suck on Thursday night. He should have benched him. Of course, Mac Lives Matter replied back, hearing about Chase's broken hip and Andrews' knee exploding, and that they ought to get benched. So we'll see who was able to use this as fuel for their fire and who's going to come out on top in the Week 7 matchup of the week.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Well, since we're talking about playoffs, let's look at where we're sitting. Right now, currently, we have Wyoming Redskins, Sundays of Thunder, Hellfire and Brimstone, and Doomsday as the top 4 teams. 5, 6, 7, and 8 are going to be CD's Nuts, Colby's team, Bud Wilborn's team, and Michael's team, with the remaining 6 still only 2 games behind at most, looking to get into that playoff picture. And as we start getting closer, we can start talking about the odds and what we have going on here. Obviously, it's 6-0 going into Week 7. Wyoming Redskins is sitting pretty. Only 3 teams in history have gone 6-0. The most recent was the 2021 Michaels team. All 3 of those teams made the playoffs. Of all the playoff teams, only 6% ever went 6-0, and only 2% of teams in the entire history of the Pantywaist League have ever gone 6-0. Next, we have the 5-1 Sundays of Thunder, and Kirsch is looking to get into the playoffs again for his organization. 9 teams in history have gone 5-1. All 9 of them made the playoffs, so he's looking good. Of all the playoffs, 17% of all the playoff teams, 17% ever went 5-1. Only 7% ever in the history. 4-2 is getting a little more crowded here. It's Hellfire and Brimstone, Doomsday, CD's Nuts, and Colby's teams. Now, 28 teams in history have gone 4-2, and 23 of them have made the playoffs. The majority of teams in the playoffs, well, not quite, 44%, almost half the teams ever made it gone 4-2, and the vast majority of the teams in the league don't ever get to that record. 3-3, so we got Bud Woodbourne's team and Michael's team. 36 teams in history have gone 3-3, and 16 have made the playoffs. So now, even though they're at 500, we're starting to get into where it's a little tougher to get in, where you're sitting around Week 6. Next, we're at 2-4. Now, these guys are 1 game back of the playoff picture, currently not in the playoffs. 24 teams in history have gone 2-4, and only 1 made the playoffs, and that was the 2020 Michaels team. And at 1-5, sitting 2 games behind, we got Torts Illustrated, Catchin' Thielens, and Gilly Cheesesteak. Now, 11 teams in history have gone 1-5, and 0 have ever made the playoffs. 9% of all teams in all of history have ever gone 1-5. So they are sitting in a small company, but it's not a good company as far as success towards the end of the season. We'll see if one of them can be the first ones ever, as they're only sitting 2 games back of the playoff picture. As always, we're going to spotlight one member of our CHIPL Plus community, allow you all to get to know them a little bit better and help understand what we're going through and who we are, so we can all come together more united as one. And this week's spotlight is going on Barney there, the owner and general manager of Catchin' Thielens. And he has been an owner since 2019. That is 3 seasons played. He's in his 4th right now. He has 2 playoff appearances. He's 22-24 overall in the regular season, 0-2 in the playoffs. His best season came in 2020, went 8-5. Worst was 2021 at 6-8. He has been the high scorer before and the low scorer 3 times. His 2022 keeper, Leonard Fournette, and his CPR pick, Gary Wilson of the New York Jets. Now, of course, as we always do, we reached out to Barney here to discuss anything that we had hot topics and intern his way. Now, initially, it wasn't going to look like it was going to go well for us, as he told us he doesn't do interviews. We reminded him that he's contractually obligated. That is part of his Can't Hack It Pantywaist League contract that he has signed. And once we got some, our lawyers involved, things that way, he realized that he is here just so he doesn't get fined. So we thank you for your time here, Barney, and we'll go over what was discussed between you and an intern here at HQ. And it was a rough start to the season, but what matters is your first win came last weekend. Now it's on to Week 7. What message do you want your fans to hear right now, as the feelings that they are currently catching are that of depression and anger? And Barney responded with, obviously, the unexpected struggle of the back-to-back MVP, Aaron Rodgers, and his star running back have been a huge hit on our success. However, I wholeheartedly believe in my psychonaut quarterback getting in touch with his Mother Earth and whichever God he prays to, and riding the ship and leading Catchin' Thielens into the playoffs, where we know anything can happen. Then he's asked, you're a well-decorated softball star, and your wife is an amazing athlete herself as a dancer. You're also raising 2 young ladies following both your examples. How do you take your success and experiences on the field and the stage to create success as the general manager of the Can't Hack It Pantywaist League? And the response from Barney was that, well, I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence. I'm used to it, transferring to my CHIPL squad. Guess I'll need to crack the whip on these spoiled athletes a little more. We'll see how one win last weekend and how that whip, see if they can get catching Thielen's on a little bit of a streak here as they're attempting to get back into the playoff picture after starting 0-5, be the first team to ever do so. Finally, you chose to re-sign Leonard Fournette this offseason, and so far he's the RB5. He's been great, but a lot of players have not pulled their weight on your team. What's your message to your team? And is catching Thielen's mindset on winning here in 2022, or is there about to be a fire sale? And we have seen in the league a lot of teams already starting to look at next year. Catching Thielen's has not been one of them, so we were wondering, is that coming? And his response was, Mama didn't raise no quitter. You just got to keep on keeping on. You can't have no in your heart. Life's a garden. Dig it? And yes, Barney, we do. We dig it. Thank you for joining us for another Can't Hack It Pantywaist League Weekly Review. Goodbye.